together. So, first question, what's happiness? What does it mean? Don't hesitate. For you, it's free markets, I'm sure. Yeah. What's happiness?
I think, maybe in my opinion, the happiness that it depends upon your age. You know what I mean? If you ask me now, she asked the question now, I would tell you. If you had asked me this question maybe 4 years ago, I would have a different answer. But my answer now is a healthy in my age.
Health? Yes.
Because the rest I really what I
Okay.
have everything.
So you said something very important. It's
You know?
it's context sensitive, right? It
Yeah.
depends on your situation. Yeah, any other viewpoints? What's happiness? Yes.
I heard
I'm sorry, what's your name?
David.
David.
I heard it as described as a ratio of reality to expectation.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're going to see that in a few minutes, actually, about the importance of expectations. Yes, how closely your experience parallels matches your expectations, right? Any other viewpoints? What's happiness?
I think just being well, feeling well,
Yeah.
feeling well-being. I think that's it. But you didn't ask how do we get there.
Yes, we're going to get there. But I suppose really the quick question is, what's happiness for you, right? Because all of us will answer differently. Phyllis might be drinking coffee there.
The tea.
Tea, right? So it's for her it's tea. For me it's coffee. Everyone has their particular point of view. So we kind of pretty universal thing. What makes you happy? And do you really know what makes you happy? Now, this may seem counterintuitive, but sometimes we really don't know, right? Until we experience something that this is a joyful or otherwise experience, right? So we think we know, but we don't always know, right? So this is back to your expectations. So if we're going out, say, to a fancy restaurant or not, we think we're going to enjoy it, right? And then the reality might turn out to be very different. Equally, our expectations could be met. So very good paradigm. So we really can't define universal happiness. There's no one thing. But maybe we can set about creating the conditions that enables each of us to pursue their what happiness is to them. So in this very simple case of the beverages here, when some of us brought beverages, we wanted a beverage of our choice, right? We wanted a beverage of our choice. So it's not kind of just providing one beverage, we wanted to produce multiple. So in the world of products and services, we know now, for example, choice is actually a relatively new thing in the grand scheme of humanity. We often didn't have much choice in the matters. So back in the 70s and the 80s, this guy, Howard Markowitz, who's a experimental psychologist. He was hired by, I'm going to use two examples, hired by many people, but he was hired by Pepsi. You're all familiar with them. They wanted to come out with a diet Pepsi. And so they wanted to figure out what was the right level of sugar, or sweetness, I suppose is the best word to use, to have in the diet Pepsi. So what Professor Markowitz did was he had the Pepsi labs produce a whole variety of different Pepsis formulated with various degrees of sweetness. Okay, so they went from sort of, you could say, sort of on the bitter side to the very sweet side. We haven't done, and these Pepsis were given out to a focus group. Now, do we all know what a focus group is? You bring in 30, 40 people at random, you sit them around the table, you pay them a little stipend, maybe you feed them, and you ask them questions, right? You ask them questions. You might ask them to sample a product and so forth, whatever it happens to be. And then you're listening very carefully to what the people have to say. And in more sophisticated focus groups, there are actually people behind a two-way mirror watching how you're reacting, whether you're lying through your teeth when you say that you like the product you're testing or don't. Have any of you ever participated in a focus group, something like that?
Yeah.
Mayor, could you tell us?
I don't remember the name of it anymore, but I did it 2 or 3 times. It's been so long ago. They paid us I think it was $100 for the day. They fed us, and it was actually a legal thing. They wanted to know how that person would be doing if take a trial. And they had 2 different lawyers, one for and one against.
Okay.
Prosecution and the...
Right. So almost like a grand jury,
right.
Except it was privately done.
Right.
Okay, very good. So Professor Monson was here. He went out. So he showed out these Pepsis to the various focus groups. That all the different groups will kind of converge around one level of sweetness, right? But the reality was that it broke out into clusters. A group of people liked stuff towards the bitter side. There was another group of people who liked stuff more to the sweeter side, and another group hang around the middle. So what he realized was there was not one optimum diet Pepsi, but there were actually multiples. So he said there was no perfect diet Pepsi, there are perfect diet Pepsis, plural. So this meant that Pepsi, when it was going to the marketplace, had to produce multiple varieties of diet Pepsi. Okay? So from the manufacturer's point of view, this is easy or difficult?
Difficult.
It's difficult. It's absolutely very difficult. And they were not happy about it. And this is the beginning of the creation of the tremendous variety of products we see in our supermarkets and stores and all that, is the fact that the marketplace is demanding so many, many different nuances, right? It's almost personalized even. There's so many varieties. What's the joke about Heinz? 50